Mr. Mugabe. Listen to that noise. There are car horns blaring. There are people running through the park down there. I'm not sure if my cameraman could just zoom in down to the park. Let's have a look at what's going on, because you can hear car horns blaring now, and people in the centre of Harare absolutely delirious. This is the moment that they have been waiting for. They can't quite believe it has happened. Impeachment proceedings had just begun only a few hours earlier, and a constitutional attempt to depose Robert Mugabe as president. And that could have taken days. Some members of parliament were saying that impeachment process could have actually taken weeks or maybe even months. And some people were beginning to worry that maybe Robert Mugabe would never leave power. He is 93 years of age, the oldest head of state on the planet. It's extraordinary how long he has clung to power, really, as a ruthless dictator, somebody who has presided over a government of brutal political repression and economic chaos. Inflation at one stage in this country under his rule reached, in 2008, 79 billion%. It is a story of extraordinary political repression and economic mismanagement. It is finally over. Nobody knows quite what is going to replace it, to be absolutely honest. The favoured candidate of the military is Ernest Mnangagwa, who has been a henchman of Robert Mugabe and not a great champion of freedom or democracy or human rights. He's the one that the army wants to replace Mr. Mugabe. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. For the moment, though, just scenes of uncontrolled joy in Harare. And I have to say, as somebody who's been coming here for the best part of 20 years, it is an emotional moment. I covered some of the brutal attacks 17 years ago on white farms in Zimbabwe, where farmers were driven out of their properties and sometimes murdered. Just one of the instances of brutality under the Mugabe regime. It is over, and no one knows quite what will replace it, but everything has changed in Zimbabwe. I don't think anyone can doubt that now. The genie is out of the bottle. Democracy, well, this may not be a country of democracy yet, but the people have tasted people power. They've come out onto the streets in their tens of thousands. They are still, as I speak, literally running through Unity Square down there. You can't see too much of it because there's so many trees there, but the Parliament is just beyond those trees, and that's where they've been gathered. That statement of resignation, that letter of resignation, read out by the Speaker of the Parliament, just down there behind those trees where those red roofs are. And the Speaker read out the letter, and the news only just now, a few minutes later, filtering out to the people of Harare and the people of Zimbabwe. It is an incredible moment, and it is a moment of history in post-colonial Africa. This country that has suffered so grievously for so many years. 90% unemployment at the moment is just one statistic I can give you to show how miserable life is at the moment in Zimbabwe. Millions of Zimbabweans have gone over the border to South Africa to try to find work, to try to find some sort of employment. That is why there are scenes now of delirium. Everyone is tooting their horns if they're in a car, and if they're a pedestrian, they're just running through the streets now towards the Parliament, which has been the focal point of this constitutional attempt to get rid of Mugabe. In the end, it wasn't needed, that impeachment process, although it may have been the final trigger that persuaded